we're going to start probably in about 5 minutes. Just let the queue down at the bar there, and then we'll welcome everybody up. So give us about 5 minutes and we'll go from there. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome down here to Kendal Town Football Club this evening. I'd like to introduce myself, Philip Walker. I am the chair of the South Cumbria Supporters Club. We were formed back in July this year, and we set up back in July, and we currently as a committee we have 66 members down here in South Cumbria, which is just incredible after 6 months, well 7 months now. So thank you very much to everybody that has joined and supported us since we set up. Bob here, we sat next to the camera here and next to Amy. Bob has membership forms there, and any ideas on how to push memberships, and the piece of paper you've had tonight when you've come in explains how to join online. We're going live with Member Mojo, which so you can join online as well and join the supporters club on there. So thank you very much, and to see 100 people here tonight is just absolutely incredible. But let's go on to the main part of this evening. So we'd like to welcome from the club, we'd like to of course welcome Tom and Patty this evening to the club. As well, we've got Paul Simpson here with us. Fantastic. You're looking a bit embarrassed there, Paul.
Very slightly. Oh, slightly embarrassed with that. Thank you very much, though.
Also, I'd like to welcome Matt Spooner from Kiosk as well, who's here, and there you go, make you feel better. We'd also like to welcome Suzanne and of course Nigel as well with us. Thank you very much. It's a bit interesting. Last time I remember we had a fans forum here. I think Paul might have been with us. We're not 100%, and I think we're all sat in the top section where the pool table is. And I think there was about 20 of us. So well done, everybody. So we're going to start off. We're going to ask Tom and Patty to talk about the introduce themselves, hear about Kendal, coming down to Kendal tonight, and the future plans, because some of you guys may have not heard what's been said up in Carlisle and stuff. And ask yourself to talk us through the news today about some of the work that's been done, which the plans are just on the back wall there on the left hand side, and where we're from, and move forward.
Well, hello, and thank you for inviting us down to Kendal. We really appreciate it, and looking forward to engaging in some great dialogue, answer all the questions, and looking for hopefully a very interactive session here. Quick introduction: Tom Piatak, First Lady. I call her the First Lady, Patty Piatak. We're from Jacksonville, Florida. I think most of you know that. Our children, young adults, Tom, married with Alice, and then Jenna is engaged with Nick. I think you've probably seen the 6 of us in some pictures around here. We are all just so thankful for the warm welcome that we've received while in Cumbria, and we're just happy to be here. Fully engaged, 110% behind Carlisle United Football Club and Cumbria in general and what we can do. And just know that we are fully committed, and thank you for allowing us to be a part of your family. With regards to, I guess let's start with some of the plans. I'll chat about them briefly, and then lead me in the right direction if there's anything anybody wants to know. We'll start with the east plans. I think, well, first of all, probably people have seen what's happened to the exterior, a little bit of the exterior of Brunton Park. We announced pretty early on that people was, are you looking to move the facility or go somewhere else? And we were no. We love historic Brunton Park, and it's going to stay right where it's at. But with that, we need to modernize it. We need to bring it in, bring it forward a bit. It's, I've heard some say it's like nothing's happened there in 15 years. It needs to just be kind of like dusted off and brought forward. So we're trying to do that. We tried to do that as quickly as possible once the control had changed, and some of the things you saw on the exterior just the fan zone, the bathrooms on the Warwick end, just little things that we could do to make an impact as quickly as possible with the big screen TV outside, which will be eventually mounted onto Brunton Park, so it'll be a permanent fixture there. We wanted to make those things happen quick so that we could just show that some of the changes that will be coming. But there's a lot more that needs to happen, and we've been working diligently behind the scenes with the management team here to make those initiatives become reality. And it's a lot of hard work, and it's coming, I guess you would say. You see some of the plans. We're moving it as fast as we can. Not as fast as we like. We like to move very quickly, and so we're taking our time on it, trying to get it right. So we put it out on the website, asking people for feedback, so we can make it as interactive as possible. That's something that we'll always do. We want to reach out to the fans and say, this is our club, together, and let's make it the best that it can be. So East plans, we're pretty excited about that. When we first came to Brunton Park, we saw the East stand and we said, what a great infrastructure right there. And the fact that it has never been built out just provides a quick opportunity for us. So we immediately wanted to do that, engage the team, and we kind of collectively came up with what we thought was the best use of the space. You see that on the plans there. There's the hospitality will be coming in on basically the second, I can get it right. There's the ground floor where the concessions are, the first floor where the offices are. We're going to be expanding those offices, adding some classrooms and some additional offices for like the academy and some teaching that can go on there. And then the second floor was going to be all the hospitality that you can see the plans for. And then finally on the top there will be the sky boxes. The overall design and plan is to move some of the hospitality from the west stands over to the east stands, expand that because it's just, it'll be brand new and I think it'll look spectacular, and that'll open up the west stands for more of the players and the coaches on match day. So overall, that's where we're headed on the east stand. It's a pretty big project. It's been submitted for planning approval. We're getting cost estimates back right now. Our target was to try to get that completed by July timeframe. That could be a little bit tight, what we heard today. That could be a little bit tight, but we're going to look at that. We wanted to get it ready before the new season. So we're going to continue pushing very hard on that. Hopefully we can get that up and running and get that completed so we can start to enjoy that space, Brunton Park. And again, I think that's going to just move the entire club forward in terms of just the game day, the match day experience. Warwick, again, we have designs there. I think they're out on the website as well, things that we committed to. We wanted to obviously expand the concessions there, improve the bathrooms. We'll get rid of the temporary bathrooms, improve the bathrooms on that end. I commend anybody that uses the men's bathroom there. I was in the military, so that's special. We want to keep a little bit of that for the history because I think it is historic, and I think it is something that down the road you want to be able to show your grandchildren and say, yeah, this is what we did. But we want to bring that forward as well. We want better access to concessions there. We have plans for that as well. Moving on to the west stand, what we've done, and these are just some of the little things. We've been doing a lot of one-on-one interviews with the staff the last 2 weeks, and we've been working with everybody since we've taken control. But we changed the boardroom, so we very quickly modernized the boardroom, and if anybody's seen that before and after, you will see the changes that occurred there. At the same time, we upgraded what is now called the 1904 room, which used to be, I believe, the former Players Lounge. And so they're both, the reason I mention it is if you get a chance to look at it, I think it's very high quality. In fact, as we've had other teams come in and play us at Brunton Park, the comments have been, this is Premier League, what you've done here in these two rooms. And our comments is, this is what we're going to be doing throughout. This is the standard that we want throughout the club. So we did that, and we're a little bit tight on the west side. And so we sat and said, the boardroom is being used truly 4 hours a day on match day. And the 1904 room is being used 4 hours a day on match day. And they're beautiful rooms, and so we said, you know, the players should be using this. So we've now have the players are having breakfast and lunch in the 1904 room, which it's just it's a great use of space. It gives them something they can be proud of, and they also are using the boardroom for some analysis. There's an interactive TV up there that Paul can go through and you know, sketch out what's going on in the match. But we're using both of those facilities for the players, and on match day it comes back, and yes, we get it for 4 hours. But that's kind of, you know, we want this stadium needs shared spaces, and we need to make sure it's improved for everybody. There's only so much we could do. If we could do more right now, we would for the players, but that was just two small things that we did. Patty and I were sitting in the 1904 room, and one of the players came in and just sat down and started chatting with us, and so we said, hey, if there's one thing you could change, what would you change? Anybody want to guess? Changing rooms. Yeah, it's changing rooms, and you know, they just said, you know, if we can do anything there. So the challenge there is, you know, on the west side we want to do a lot, and so we can change the changing rooms, and we're doing that right now, but it's probably not the long-term plan, but we've been able to figure out a way to do it where we're not throwing good money after bad money and make the changes. But we were down in Manchester, and we went to Old Trafford, and we were going through there, and so when he said the changing rooms, we took a picture of their changing room. We were down there, and I showed him on the phone, and I said, this is where we're going. This is where we're headed. This kind of quality and everything. And he just said, I know you guys were going to do that. So we're going to get there. So it's going to take a little bit of time on the west side, but those are some of the quick changes that we've made. We are actually right now addressing the changing room and the showers for the home players. The reason it makes sense is once that's all done, it'll probably end up being the away team's showers, and that needed to be upgraded as well. So we have a plan of attack that we're going on through the stadium to make improvements slowly but surely. We don't have all the answers yet. Everybody's asked, you know, well, what are you going to do on the waterworks end? You know, and what about the pitch being off center on the east end? And you know, we acknowledge that. We see that. We don't have that full plan yet, but we're going to take this step by step by step and continue to invest and move it forward. And Brunton Park is going to be brought into what I would say, you know, a place where people are going to want to be and say, this is a first-class stadium, this is a first-class football club, and it's the first place to go on match day. So we're making those changes. I don't think, is there anything else I'm thinking on the infrastructure that I haven't mentioned? Excuse me? New training facilities, yes. Yes, so this is interesting, and this is just being totally transparent and honest. When we acquired the club, we did, I think I walked through, you know, we did the analysis and you know, of the various leagues, and then we looked at League 1, League 2, once we determined it was English football that we were going to go into League 1, League 2, and we did the analysis, and boom, Carlisle, you know, surfaced on top. So we came and engaged and started going through that process. I'll be honest, the last thing that we were thinking about was probably the academy and the training grounds. It just, you know, we were Carlisle United, and that's where we're headed. Now that we've been going through and studying and discussing it with everybody, huge paradigm shift, and we're sitting there going, okay, number one priority, winning on the pitch, trying to survive League 1, putting the best product out there, but we need training grounds. We need training grounds and the academy. The academy, it needs to be strong, and they need to go hand in hand, because as we mentioned, we're not in this for the short term. We're not in there, you know, just to throw cash at something, try to fix a problem. We need to make sure that we have the infrastructure right for long-term success of the club. That's what our goal, and that's our commitment. So when we look at it, I sit there and we say, if we were the parents of you know, a talented football, young aspiring football player, and you look at the training facilities of Carlisle United, it's amazing what they've been able to do. I mean, it's amazing what the club and the academy has been able to do with the resources or the facilities that they have now. So we need to make them better. And I would say when we made that decision, we went down to the Fleetwood match, and I asked Nigel, I said, can you get us down there a couple hours early? We'd like to go tour their training facility. And we did. And they have a shared club community training facility. Now they've probably spent $8 million counting. That's just my estimate there on it. But it's a phenomenal training facility. I mean, we were impressed, and that was kind of where we said that's what we need. That's what we need to have. So if you haven't seen it, go online, take a look. They have some drone video of it, so you can get a really good overview of what it looks like. It takes space. It certainly takes space. So we need to find that. It has an indoor dome for indoor practice. We're going to have that up in Carlisle. We need to find the space that works best. So we visited probably so far 4 or 5 different locations. We did it as a team, and we do that because as we look at a location, there's some things that I see that I'm like, oh, I'm really drawn to this, and I might not be listening to some things that are the negative of that location where others will. So we wanted to visit every one of these locations and then kind of collectively get together and say, what do we all think? I know I have my preference, but it's not my preference. We've been in some meetings. I've thrown out some what I consider great ideas, and they got knocked down really quick by everybody else and said, that's a dumb idea. And I'm like, oh, okay. I'm glad I threw that out there and didn't talk to anybody about it ahead of time. But we're trying to get the right location, the right facility. So we have one in mind. And I would just say, if you look at the Fleetwood model, I think that's what you can kind of picture up in Carlisle. It has the indoor, it has the 3G, it has, you know, the grass pitches, it has pitches for the academy, some shared use. The one plus that's going to be coming with it is there's going to be 1 or 2 pickleball courts with it. Pickleball's catching on, and I just think it's a great little sport that can be included there. But we're going to get that done. So we have the vision of what this is going to look like. We've all agreed on what that's going to look like, what the investment's going to look like. We think we know the location. We're working with City Council on it. And our commitment is we're going to move as fast as we can. We right now have this fast track. So we are moving it as fast as the club can. And I think once you see the location and then maybe a graphic visual of what the end product's going to look like, you're going to be very proud, and it's going to be a place that any young footballer within the catchment area is going to say, I want to train for Carlisle United. I want to be a part of the Carlisle United program. So that is ongoing, and we are going to move that as fast as we can. I could go on for hours, so I think I'm gonna stop. Yes.
In the east stand, your boxes, are they going to be just there for a firm to hire for the full season, or are they going to be open so that we could have it for one match or not?
I think the answer to that is it has not been decided. There could be a hybrid where X number are there for the full season, and then 1 or 2 might be open for match day, you know, that could switch. You see the number that we have, you know, identified for up there, but it could be a hybrid of that, but it has not been decided yet for sure.
Right, thank you. I hope you look at it as a fans thing as well, as not as a firm thing that's going to be in there all year, that was all.
Yes, good question. I'll take a break now.
So once again, I think we can just say thank you very much for Tom there for being as open as they have been since they've taken the club over, and shared those thoughts with us about the future of the ground and where things are standing. And I think it's superb to see things moving. Just one quick question that I have had here: can we do something with the female toilets in the paddock? That was one, because a few people have mentioned that on the questions that we've had.
No, not yet.
You know, it's funny, the toilets came up again today. And it's a recurring theme. And I'll tell you the question that I actually asked on that was, I said, you know, is it the toilets or is it the pipes? You know, because there's two different issues there. We recognize that there is an issue there. The toilets should be functioning at all times. We're going to get them fixed, and then the question becomes, can we fix them, you know, by replacing them? Because if we replace them, they can be removed when we remodel the west stands. But yes, the facility should be working in good working order, and we're committed to get that fixed.
Perfect, thank you very much. I'm going to open up to the floor, so have we got any questions? I'll come over with the microphone, and yeah, anyone to open the floor first? Yeah, I'm going to come over the far side here. There we go.
Hi, I'm a businessman from South Cumbria, and I deal in short, medium and long-term plans. Short term, it's not great, but it's still a hell of a lot better than 2 years ago. Medium term, I think things are looking very well, and I'm hopeful that things will improve dramatically. But long term is what makes a team perform, like Oldham, currently struggling in God knows where, or Brighton, and they're right up at the top. And it's the long term view that I'm looking for. And people get very pessimistic. I'm a Carlisle lad, and we're very pessimistic about Carlisle. It's the end of the world. But to my mind, it's the bridge between Scotland, Northern Ireland and the English leagues, and when we're scouting and when we're building for the future, I think we should be looking north and west rather than constantly looking down and seeing what's happening on the south coast, because those boys in the south coast, I mean, you know, hats off to Luke Plange and the other fellas who've come up from Crystal Palace. It's a long way for them, whereas if you're coming from South Glasgow, it's not really that long away. It's a couple of hours. Some of them can run it quicker than you can walk. You know. So
my question is both for Paul. My question is both for Paul and Tom. You know, where's it going in terms of the longer term and our ability to make academies and under 20s and under 16s and even under 12s and stuff like that? Where's that going?
Well, I totally agree with you in terms of Carlisle isn't the end of the world, but we are scouting in Ireland, in the Northern Irish League, the Southern Ireland. We are scouting in Scotland. We've probably since the start of this season, I'm just trying to think off the top of my head, there's probably been 6 players from Scotland, Northern Ireland, or the Republic of Ireland League that we have tried to sign. In the summer, we tried to sign a couple, and the truth of it was we couldn't afford them. Now we've then gone back again in the January window, and we were told by one that the club weren't prepared to sell them in this particular window, but that may be different in the summer. They may look at it differently. They felt as though it was not in their interest to sell the lad in January. He was under contract for another, I think he's got 2 years left, so they weren't prepared to sell him, but they've said come back in the summer and we might discuss it again with you. There was a player over in Ireland who we agreed the fee, we agreed the terms, but then he chose to go somewhere else, so there was nothing we can do. So we are definitely looking. So that's in terms of first team. Now then, in terms of the academy, we think that we're in a really, really strong position in terms of our catchment area, in terms of coming down south, because there's a certain catchment area, there's a distance that they're allowed to travel, but we've got real good distance down south. We've got a good distance going across to the northeast. Now obviously the further we go, we're competing with Newcastle, Sunderland, Middlesbrough, which is a challenge. We then have the distance that we can go up into Scotland as well, so we've got a really strong catchment area. So that's why the long-term plan is to have an academy connected to the first team training site, where everybody is under one roof, and even today we've had when we had our meeting this afternoon, we're also talking about the ladies team needs to come onto that site as well, because they're a big part of the football club. We've got a development centre of girls who have just started this season, so we're trying to progress that as well, because girls football is really popular now. So we are trying to get it all under one training facility, and we're hoping that within the next, hopefully in the next few weeks, we might be able to say where the site is and where we are with it and what the plan is for it, because that's something we are quite a long way down the line of looking into. So we do have a long-term plan. I'm the same. I have a short-term plan, but in football management, normally if you don't get a short-term plan, you don't get a medium-term. Thankfully, at the moment, I'm being allowed to go into a medium-term plan. So the short-term plan is to try and stay in League One. If that doesn't happen, we still have a plan for the next season. We still have a plan to make the football club better. And we think that if we get the academy right, if we get the community programme all incorporated into our football club, we actually believe that the whole place is going to be a better football club for supporters, first and foremost on a match day for their experience, for players, and certainly for me as a manager, because at the moment it's not pleasant.
Anybody else? Tom, any questions? Yeah, just one moment.
Hi. What lessons you bring over from the United States to over here? Because I get the impression that American sports are very family orientated. There's very little hooliganism, very little aggro. You can take your kids along. I mean, when I go along to football matches, it's very male dominated, and there's always a few rough characters around. And I feel that, if we could get a more balanced sort of supporter space, that would help everybody.
No, great question, and we completely agree. One of our efforts from the very beginning is we've said it seems like the supporters may have jumped a generation, and we've missed a generation there at Carlisle United. I think what the club has done with the fan zone has been absolutely fantastic, and you see us expanding that, and that we have expanded that. We're going to continue to expand that further. You're going to see additional plans on where we're going to be expanding that to the Warwick end. But we're blessed to have the young, we call them young adults, our children, can't call them kids anymore, our children with us in this journey, and they have that connection to the younger generation, and we want to welcome them, and we're seeing more and more. I mean, from just the 6 months, I guess, that we've been over to Carlisle, we've seen more and more of them at the facility, and that's great, and we encourage them to come, and we're going to do more with them. In the U.S., we do have connections. We're working with the Jaguars, and we reach out to them quite frequently. We're reaching out to them right now on a couple processes where we're saying, listen, these processes, while we're different sports, it's basically the same process, and can we learn from what they've done so we're not making the same mistakes. So we're trying to do that with our connections in the U.S. We're also reaching out to some other clubs in the U.S. that we have connections with to learn more about what they do and how we can do it differently. It is a little, when you say it's a little bit more polite, if you've ever gone to a Raiders-Eagles game, it's not. It can be very ugly. It can be brutal. I mean, you wear a home jersey and you go to an away game there. Sometimes you are treated just. It's tough. So there's a lot of similarities too, but I do think when I look at like the U.S. sports market, they've done a little bit more on the commercialization of it. I almost sometimes I think can get a little bit too corporate, where the match isn't as intense. I mean, the one thing that we've picked up is you cannot relax during a Carlisle United football game. You just can't. There's no way. You're down 1-0. You're not relaxed. You're up 1-0. You're not relaxed. I mean, you're just like this. You know, if you see us in their seats, sometimes Pat and I's got our fingers crossed and praying. We're like, geez, you know, can we get through this? Whereas sometimes in the U.S., yeah, Jaguars are up 24-0. You enjoy a beer and you just relax and you don't really have to socialize. So I definitely think there's things that we can bring from that. We are working with any connections that we have. We're also working with some of the American investors that own English football clubs, and we're reaching out to them and getting their best practices of what they've done well. So our plan is, again, we've got a short and medium term, but we also have the long-term plan too, because we're not in this for the short haul. We want to get this right so that we're growing, and we want to see Brunton Park, 15,000 strong every weekend with.
I mean, can we have more families and less hooligans?
I
don't think any genuine football fan wants to go along to a football match and having plenty, where you get, few jobs, ruin it for everybody else, and you look around the kids sort of, cowering and stuff like that after one or two battles, Can we, if we had more women, more families, there'd be less of that?
We're trying. I don't know, Suzanne, if you want to touch on that a little bit, but we're trying to get more of the children in and have the family stands in separate areas. I would say on the hooligan part and some of the bad behavior, we need the supporters that are in the fans to stand up too. We need the supporters to police.
You're going to get punched.
Yeah. I don't want to get punched, but.
I've been to a match where I've seen hooligans, you see a group misbehaving, and if you're going to go up to them and say, sit down, shut up, you're going to get your teeth knocked out. So I haven't, you go, I've gone to stewards, but I've been careful to turn my back so the hooligans can't see me and say, those guys over there,
Just to interrupt, sorry Tom, the kiosk's role in the club from what it was 3 months ago has significantly changed, and I think the attraction of new fans and of new ages of fans and new gender of fans needs to be high on our radar, and it is high on our radar. You raise really good points around people should come to Brunton Park and feel safe. We've all seen the documented issues that we've had over the last couple of seasons, and that's not something the club wants to happen. It's not something fans want to happen, like you're saying. You were doing the right thing in reporting that to stewards, and we absolutely wish for everybody that sees something, if they could report that to stewards, it'd be brilliant. There's also the side of it where we recognise that sometimes it hasn't been dealt with as efficiently or effectively as it could be, and that's something that the club are working hard to improve with the stewards. There's a couple of contractors that are using. In the instances where things have gone wrong, and when we have seen people get temporary bans or whatever's happened in the past, the club are working on initiatives now with restorative justice to try and make it a more welcoming place and to try and help educate fans. If you've got a 15, 16, 60-year-old or 70-year-old at a football game, they might do something wrong, and it's right that we let them understand and have the opportunity to learn why it was wrong and what we need to see improve. So what I would say from the Supporters Trust point of view, if you do have suggestions or recommendations on how we can make it more friendly for women, kids, old men with walking sticks, anyone that wants to come. I wasn't looking at you there. Anyone that wants to come to Brunton Park is and should be welcome. And I think as the trust move forward with a smaller shareholding, our relevance needs to come from making Brunton Park accessible for everyone.
So just a quick one. Hello, there we go. I think it's a bit. Sorry, just feeding back off that, I was actually on with a member of British Transport Police the other week, and they said that the worst fans that they have to deal with at the moment is young drunk kids heading back up to Carlisle. He's based in Wigan, and it's not just Carlisle, there's a lot of other clubs that are having these problems. Is there any active work going to move forward? We've seen some of the stuff that's been said in the Warwick Road end over the last year and stuff that's happened. Is there going to be any police engagement with skills and education?
Yeah, we have a programme of restorative justice that we've been working on for over 2 years now with the help of Cumbria Police. We have a dedicated football officer and he is worth his weight in gold to us as a club. We've done a lot of work with individual young people, working on incidents that have happened at games home and away, along with their parents, and a charity called Remedy, and also Cumbria Youth Justice Service. And we've had some really good results on that. Really positive conversations, really good output. We've been speaking with the schools, we've been speaking with Carlisle Youth Zone to try and work alongside the police and the charities to have a programme that we can take in that is attractive to young people to get involved in. You know, it's not all young people. It's a unfair brush to tar them all with. You know, we've all been that age. We've all had daft moments where we've made stupid mistakes, and I think it's helping them understand that and not punishing them for it. It's really easy for us as a club to sit and ban everybody that causes any problem, but I don't think that's the right thing to do for the future of the club. You know, we want these young people to come as adults and bring their children and their grandchildren in the future. So we have to take an approach where they learn from us and we learn from them. And it's been a really long journey to get to this point, but we're at the point where we've gathered enough information and made enough contacts that we can push something out, but not something that's going around schools and telling kids off, because they don't need told off. They need to be part of our club, and they need to be part of the future of our club, and by having a little bit of responsibility for that, it changes behaviours really quickly. We've seen with the great work the guys have been doing in the Warwick Road end, taking ownership of that area of the ground and painting it and making it look better and making it feel better. That group's done some good work, and they did change a lot of behaviours in there, but with new fans comes new problems, and we've just got to work together to make it better for everybody.
Nick, you wanted a question?
It's reported in recent weeks so many teams have been interested in Jarrad Branthwaite, and I believe we have got a sell-on percentage and any extra money on top of that. Can you specify if we've received any and what is the sell-on percentage?
We've been receiving money from the sale of Jarrad basically ever since the first game he played. We received a payment on his debut, and we receive ongoing payments as he goes based on the appearances that he makes. So that will continue, and it will continue for some time if he stays at Everton. That's kind of a normal deal. As far as sell-on percentages, no, I can't tell you what the percentage is. What a shocker, Nigel's the downer, but there you go. I'm the one to take the brick back. So no, I can't disclose it. Put simply, all these deals are very confidential on those kind of matters. So I can't do it. Simple as that. But I've said in the past, whereas the deals for James Trafford and Dean Henderson, the sell-ons that we would get from those, weren't transformational for the club. If Jarrad continues to develop and he goes for the sort of money that the media are speculating about, that will bring a significant amount of money into this club, which will allow it to deliver on the plans that we need to do. We've got a lot of catching up to do. We don't need the money to do what the guys have talked about, but it will help. It will help, and it'll give us the platform to, as I say, to catch up and do a lot of things that we've been unable to do for a very long time. So that's a great example of the benefit of an academy player to a football club. Jarrad's mum was in the Boardroom at the last home game, so it was great to see her. We're a family club, and it's great to see her come back, and we were talking about how well he was doing, not how much money he was going to get transferred for. The fact that we were really proud of him and how we all watch every game that he plays and we're cheering him on. So that is what Carlisle's about for me. So good luck to Jarrad, and long may he continue being a star, and we can't wait for him to play for England.
Thank you very much, Nigel. Anybody else, any questions? Oh, I've got a couple of questions in my hand, which I can come to if there's any more questions yet. Anybody at all? Yeah, just hold on where we're at.
I don't need it.
Okay.
My dad took me to Carlisle United when I was 5. I'm 75 in June, and I've seen lots of ups and downs. More downs than ups, but when we've been up, it's been brilliant. I'd like to thank Tom and Patty and the family, because I think you've brought a huge amount of optimism to us as the community of Carlisle United. I love the club. My son started coming when he was a similar age to me. My granddaughter's the thing, and that's how I want it to be, a family club. It's a community club, and I love the ideas of what you're doing to bring the community into the club again. So congratulations on that, and I wish you good fortune.
Going to come up here to the back. John, you've got a question.
Yeah, I'd just like to take the opportunity just to thank Kennel Town for giving this facility this evening. I think they're doing it for free, so can we give John Wharton and all the staff a round of applause, please, for this evening? My question would be, I think obviously Kennel Town, I mean, I'm one of quite a few Carlisle fans, South Lakes, who were not at Brunton Park, do come to Kennel Town quite regular. And then obviously Kennel do need big games, and I think we missed the Carlisle fixture last summer, pre-season. I think Paul mentioned it wasn't competitive enough. Would you consider bringing Carlisle down again in the pre-season? I know it's too early to call, but would you consider bringing Carlisle?
Well, I'm not sure where you read that or heard that it wasn't competitive enough, because that was not something that I said. It was a pre-season game. I think, if I'm right, it was probably our second game. So the truth is, I didn't actually want it competitive. So that's not an issue to me. It was more, last year we had a really tight schedule that we worked to because of the time that we finished the season. And the time that we had to prepare. So it was more about, not the season before, we hadn't been able to go to some places. I mean, last pre-season we didn't go to Penrith, which we normally go to. So what I tried to do is share it around for the different areas of the county. The truth is, I probably wouldn't go any further than here, but I felt we owed it to Annan for allowing us to sign Owen Moxon, so I felt as though I owed them something in return for allowing, because basically Peter Murphy tipped me off that Mox was going on a free transfer, so come and have a look. So we'd already done a bit of scouting, so we jumped in then and did that. So I've sort of repaid them back. But it's something I would consider. It's not something I would rule out. Maybe next year, who knows? We just got to wait and see.
Thank you very much. Just in the middle here with one of our junior fans as well. So a quick question from yourself as well.
Where do you see the club realistically in the next 5 to 10 years, both on and off the pitch, in terms of like success and like facilities, like on the pitch performances, obviously? What do you think is your realistic aim, like by say 2030?
Should I go first? Well, I certainly want it to be better than it is now. That's the first thing I'm going to say, because I totally accept that this season has been a huge disappointment in terms of the results that we've had so far. I think without trying to pass the buck here or not shoulder any blame, which I do have to shoulder a lot of the blame, we probably weren't ready for League One. if I'm really honest. We weren't going to turn down a promotion, but I think I can honestly sit here and say that we weren't one of the 4 best teams in League Two last season. We got through on character, and I've got to say on luck, and also a certain level of ability, and a little bit of organisation. We got through, but we weren't one of the 4 best teams, and I can say that honestly, but we weren't going to turn promotion down. So we went up to League One. I don't know about you, about what you feel about League One, but League One has surprised me. I think it's been a big step from League Two in terms of technical ability, in terms of physical capabilities, in terms of the physical stats that we're seeing from opposition teams. We are off it. Now, we started the season behind everybody because of the time scale. We started the season behind everybody in terms of our playing budget. We started the season behind everybody in terms of the togetherness of the group, because there was a lot of changes. Some were forced, some were my decisions, but we started behind. Now, with what we've done in January, I think the group is stronger than what we started the season, because I think the group that started the season was weaker than the one that finished last season. So I think in terms of the squad going forward, I think we're in a better place. Now, this has been the first window that we can actually have an effect because of the change through the new ownership group. So this is the first time we could affect the change. So I certainly see us improving moving forward. We have to finish the season with a fight, because at the moment, and I've said this to the players, we're not going with a fight. So we're going to have to show a bit more fight. We're going to have to show a bit more courage on the ball and off the ball. So there's things that need to improve there. But then going forward, I think the club is going to be in a much stronger position than we actually were at the start of the season. So that's this season. Now, moving forward after that, I think Carlisle United has got more than enough in terms of what I see the structure being, where I would like the squad to be, where I see the facility being, where I see Carlisle United in terms of the fan base. We could definitely be a top end of League One, pushing to go to the Championship, and we have that facility now. The guy over there just gave us some examples of whether it be Oldham Athletic, which we don't want to be, or whether it be a Brighton and Hove Albion. We have to look at clubs like Brighton and Brentford and aspire to be like them, because I remember not so long ago that Brighton were trying to win last game of the season to stay in the Football League. So they've had a massive rise, and that has come about just by proper ownership, a proper plan, and being able to put that plan into practice. And that's what we've got to aspire for. We have got to look at those as an example to try and get there. Now, I'm not saying that in 5 years' time, in, what did you say, 2030, I'm not sure whether we can say that we're going to be Brighton or Brentford in the Premier League, but this football club can certainly be in a much stronger position to be able to start thinking about pushing to be in the Championship, to start thinking about pushing to get into the Premier League, and that's where we've all got to strive to get to.
Thank you very much, Paul. Going to come forward a little bit here.
Hi. So when we played Bolton, it was evident that they were fitter, faster, stronger. We all know that nutrition is key in elite sport. I just want to know, what do these guys eat? Do we work with nutritionists? Do we have individual diet plans? Do we have chefs at Brunton Park Monday to Friday training days? Or do they live off Claire's Bakery? I don't know. But I've seen first team players filling up with petrol at Tesco on the way home, buying crisps, chocolates, sandwiches, following a match when they've been on the pitch an hour earlier after spending a fortune watching a game. To me, that just seems, are we not feeding them after the match? Or would the Bolton players be eating a takeaway curry from their local from conditioning? How serious are we dealing with nutrition?
Well, the truth is we are dealing with it very seriously. John's just knocked that off. Because we all understand the need for food and right food. So since I've been in at the club, it is something that has improved. That the players pay for it with some support from the club also. I think, on my understanding. So the players come in. They have to be in for sort of round about no specific time, but round about 9 o'clock the players come in. There's breakfast on for them. So even lads who've travelled, they come in, there's breakfast served for them in the morning, then there's lunch that's served, and it is following a proper sports diet. After games, we have a food preparation company that do the food so that the players get the right amount of carbs, the right amount of protein, the small quantities of fat that they needed, so all of the right stuff they have, so that within, this is particularly on an away game I'm talking about, we have this food prep company that sends stuff in. The players get a menu that they choose from, and it can be one of, there's about 20 options. They get that on the coach straight away, so that's the most important, that the recovery starts straight away. Now, for home games, we have brilliant, a guy called Alex, who used to have Alex's Pasta Bar in town. He's now moved into the St Nick pub, and he does the food from there. He does individual pasta deals, pasta meals for all of the players, and they come into the change room, so the players get them straight after the game. Now, I can't actually do anything about what they do when they leave the ground on a Monday to Friday or on a Saturday. I can't do anything about that. But the thing that we talk to the players about is we can deal with the 99%. We can deal with the 10% while you're in at the football club on a training day, on a match day. We can actually dictate what you're going to eat. We can dictate what you're going to eat after a game. We can't do the rest of the time. That's where we're hoping they're going to be professional. Now, if they're not professional, then they'll fall by the wayside at some point. If they're really unprofessional, they'll fall by the wayside really quickly. Now, in terms of the Bolton players being fitter and stronger, it looked that way because they were better on the football than we were. But in terms of the actual physical data of the total distances covered, in terms of the high intensity running, in terms of the sprinting, so you've got high intensity running is anything up to 5.5 metres per second, sprinting is anything up to 7.5 metres per second. We weren't far off, we're quite close to them. So your perception is a little bit swayed because they were a far better footballing team than us. They were physically bigger than us, which is something that we've noticed this season, and that is something that moving forward we certainly need to improve on. But I can assure you, we don't take nutrition, we don't take the strength and conditioning for granted. It's something that we are massively trying to improve for all of the players. But as I say, if they are not professional when they go away from the club, we have a problem, and there's not a lot we can do. We weigh them every single week, we body fat test them every week, and if there's not every week, body fat testings every month. If there's a big change, then they have a programme that they have to work on to change it, and if they don't change it, then they lose money out the wages.
Who's the S&C coach?
Who is it? Well, we've got two. We've got my son Jake is the head of performance, and then we've brought a lad called Adam Quirchin in, who's come from Aldershot, and he started. So they work in the gym. The players do gym sessions every day, barring a Friday. They do a pre-ab session before training for any issues that they may need in terms of sort of long-term weaknesses, long-term injuries. And then generally after training they then go and do either an upper body session if it's later in the week, or they'll do a power session on the legs earlier, probably a Tuesday, because they need to have a rest day the day after.
Thank you very much, Paul. We've just been going just around an hour. I'm going to have a bit of a break for about 15-20 minutes. We've got some raffle tickets for sale as well. Raffle tickets, just to let you know, up to now the club's funds have been able to raise enough money to have some money in the account, and we've turned around and sponsored one of the players already. We sponsored Luke Armstrong when Luke signed. So that's where the money's going to be able to do that and help the club, be able to give the club some money and to get behind these initiatives that the club want to do. So if you do have any spare change for the raffle, we'll get that drawn and get yourselves a time for a drink, and we'll come back for probably for about 20 past and do the raffle, and then finish off with half an hour's worth of questions again. Thank you. We've got some great prizes. We've got a very, very rare, couple of rare bits here. We've got a home shirt. We've got a. We've also got in the raffle tonight. I'm just checking the size. In extra large GB and extra large US as well.
That'll fit you, Philip.
Hey. We've got the away shirt as well. And we've got an auction at the end. We've got a special prize donate. So we're going to ask the First Lady herself to start and work everyone down on the raffle. Yeah, go. It's the strip 301 to pink 301. It's the whole strip, don't worry. 301 to 305. Here we go. Come down, pick a prize. And we're going for another one. Go for another one. Pick anything you want. There we go. There we go.
Congratulations.
There we go. First winner of the night. 451 to 455 in orange. There we go. It's Bob. It's a fix. Whatever you want. Yeah, go for it. There we go. It's got the sign bowl. There we go. I think I've lost count of how many I've got of them from over the years. Keep going, keep going.
It's a low number. 31 through 35.
31 to 35, pink. There we go. Come on now then. There we go. Let's keep it going. Let's keep it going. Pick anything you want apart from the alcohol, obviously. There we go. Thank you very much.
So we'll pink again.
Pink again.
251 through 255.
251 to 255. There we go. And another winner. There we go.
Check what's in it when you like it.
Orange.
Peach. Let's go for peach. It's not orange. It's not yellow.
341 through 345.
341 to 345. Orange. Yes, come on down. There we go. We've got 4 beers. We've got some wine. We've got some whiskey. Got a shirt. There we go. Some pop. What we're going for. There we go. 276 to 280. 276 to 280. Patty, there's 2 lots there. 276 to 280. Pink. Orangey colour. Orange, anybody? Have we? Yes, we've got this good-looking gentleman here.
God damn it!
Come on, where's he gone? There we go, thank you very much. He's gonna... Where's he gone? Come on, get some beers. Since we let you down, you can have the beers. How's that for you? Okay, wow, early ticket, pink, 1 to 5. Who was first getting the raffle tickets tonight? There we go, he was a trendsetter. And in the orangey colour, 581 to 585. And on the pinky tickets, we've got 591 to 595. 591 to 595. Anybody on the pink tickets? 591 to 595.
Calling once, calling twice.
Gone.
Out.
Okay, orangey ticket, 441 to 445. 441 to 445. Put it back in. It was his. There we go. Pinky ticket, 61 to 65. 61 to 65. On the pink, 61 to 65. There we go. Orange ticket, 506 to 510. 506 to 510. In the orange, thank you. Orange ticket, 506 to 510. Anybody? There we go, Steve, come on over.
Come on, shape yourself.
You were nearly lost there. Orange ticket again, 376 to 380. There we go, come on over.
Come on, get yourself out.
Come on, we got 3 bottles of whiskey. Okay, pink then, 331 to 335. Come and grab a bottle of whiskey, there you go. Just take a bottle of whiskey, please. You've got one, there we go. So we're on the last one. This is the last one. So we got 576 to 580 on the pink for the last bottle of whiskey. Put it back in, come on. There we go, one more. What a night this is, heck. So we got 541 to 545 on the orange. He's at the back, there we go, we're going to win him at the back. There we go. Got a bottle of Blair Raffle, there we go, thank you very much. Thank you. So, since the start this evening, we've been given an auction prize this evening by Nigel, which is in the brand new Boardroom. Boardroom experience for a match. So, as an auction prize. So we're going to start the bidding here at £50. Have we got £50 anywhere? Tom, perfect, £50, that's a good start. Anybody else? Where do we go from £50? Two. 80 £80 are there. 100. 110.
150.
150. Come on, it's brand new and it's been done, but we need to cover some costs. 200 at the back there, 200.
220.
220. This is where I'm getting nervous that I might get a day out with my dad. So we're on £220. Have we got any more than 220? 2 people. Yeah, it's between 220 and 200. Two different games, 2 different ones. We've got 220 and 200 over the far side. So you've both won. Which?
By the way, I'm taking Jamie, not you.
So, with those 2 totals of 230 and £234 on the raffle tonight, we have raised £664 this evening. Wow. Thank you very much to everybody. I'll go and pop this back over to Bob, and then we'll start off with some questions again. So thank you very much to Nigel for there. That's a massive amount of money for the supporters club to be able to put some money back into the club, hopefully as the season goes on and into the start of next year as well, which I'm sure Tom's quite smiling there as well. So we're going to start on a question that I've been asked. A piece of paper got handed to me before. It's to you, Paul. How bad is the injury to Jack Diamond?
We're hoping it's not too bad. He hasn't trained today, and I'm not expecting him to train tomorrow, but we think he'll be okay to train on Friday. He just got, it was a contact injury, he got smashed off the fullback, where his ankle just locked. But there's a bit of swelling. He's been using a thing called a game ready machine, which is an icing and a compression machine. He's been using that since Saturday night. So we're hopeful that he'll be fit for the weekend. if not Saturday, then fingers crossed it'll be for Tuesday.
Thank you very much, Paul. I'm going to come to the back of the room here. If we get a signal, yes we do. Good radio mics.
I am stood up, I'm sorry, I'm short. Just a question really. Clearly the players have got the stamina to last more than 90 minutes. We got many complaints about the Stockport fans in the hotel the morning after Wembley about that. But what mental preparation do they go through and training to believe they can actually win when they step out on the pitch? Because they can, they just need belief in themselves.
Yeah, I totally agree. They can. They are capable. They've shown it on a few occasions over the majority of a game. They've shown it in patches of games. The mental preparation that they do is more about the repetition that we try to do in training with them. We have a performance coach who works with us, and I didn't realise when the question was asked to me, but there's a guy sat over there who's actually left, who has a local stonecraft company called Coniston Stonecraft, who he sponsors a performance coach that we have, who comes in probably four or five times over the season. He's done 3 sessions with us so far, and the next plan, he has loads of jobs, so he works all over the world. He's got a job with the UN. He's been over in the States recently. He's back in the country now, and the plan was always that he's coming in before the Burton game. So he's coming in to do some work with the group on Monday as well, about positive mental attitude, about, well, basically he's, because of what I said recently, he's going to do a bit about manning up and being a bit nastier. So he's going to do something with them on Monday around that. So we do try. We try to affect that, and I think as a coach or a manager, whatever title that you want to put on me, psychology is part of it as well. We're always doing psychology. We're always, you not only have to be a coach, you've also got to be a confidant for them, so they've got to be able to come and speak to you about issues that they've got. They've got to be able to come and be open enough to say where they've got concerns. So that mental side is something that we're working on with them every single day. There's only so much you can do, and it has to come from within as well. So that's something we are hoping that it comes from within them, and they're able to be able to go and perform from the start of a game, not at 2-0 down or not at 3-1 down. There has to be that mental attitude, that positive mental attitude. We talk about starting the games on a front foot. I have a think, look, play, run forward mentality, and I've had that since the day I came in. It worked last season. It's not working at the moment, but it's the way that we are keep going, and the simple message in terms of the review that we've done with them today, going in from Saturday's game into this Saturday's game, is don't have any fear. Everybody's already written us off. There's nothing to fear. We're playing against a team on Saturday who, yes, they're top of the league and we're bottom, so people don't have an expectation. So what is there to fear? You may as well go out and just play. Go and play with freedom. Go and have no inhibitions. Go and show what you're all about. And that, in my mind, is all we can do at the moment. And then we've got to then do our final preparation going into Saturday's game and hope they go and perform.
Thank you very much, Paul. I'm still at the back of the room here, and I've got a young gentleman next to us. Go for it.
Paul, we've got a fairly large squad, and there's several players aren't getting into the first team, obviously. Is there any chance that we can bring back a reserve team so they can be match fit and prepared for when they're needed? And it's also a bridge for the young youth team players coming through to get more man football or grown-up football. Any chance?
It's certainly something that we're talking about further down the line, and I think that actually goes together with a better training facility, because at the moment we have one pitch that we're training on. When that pitch is out of use, we go to Gretna, and even the other week we were doing some work where I wanted to do some work with the starting 11, some unopposed work with the starting 11, and I needed sort of 3/4 of a pitch, and then Gavin Skelton had like an 18-yard box to use with the other, whatever there was, probably about 14 or 15 I think there was. So it gets affected because of our training facility. The reason the reserve team was stopped a few years ago was because of the expense. So the expense of actually running the team, so more players, members of staff, facilities, so it was stopped because of that reason. But it's certainly something that I think moving forward we need to think about doing again, whether it's a reserve team, a B team, an under-21 team, whatever. We do need it, because when we're talking about trying to improve the academy and have better and more younger players coming through, they need that bridge between under-18 football and senior first team football to be able to have that test, to be able to challenge. So it's definitely something that we want to do moving forward, but I think the facility has to come before we start looking at getting the team, because with the facility we've got more pitches to use to train on. We would then need to look at more staff to come in to be able to work it. But I agree, we have a problem. On Saturday we had 7 players left behind who needed to do a session over the weekend, and that for me is not ideal. Now in the January window we wanted to move some on, in terms of offering to pay up contracts or settle contracts, or we had inquiries for players, but they wouldn't take the offers of settling the contracts, and they didn't want to go to the clubs we offered them. So we have to honour the contract. We signed it as much as they did, so we have to honour it, because that's the way we are as a football club. And I don't believe that you should, well, the PFA don't allow you to, but I don't think we should go back to the days of Roddy Collins, where he used to ride a bike through the middle of Carlisle with ringing a bell, with 6 lads running behind him as if they were lepers. That's not my style. So they all train with us, but when it comes to the match practice, they're not involved in it, and there's nothing we can do about it. And I have a real frustration with it, because my whole philosophy on playing as a footballer was to get to the end of my career with as many appearances under the belt as I possibly could. Footballers don't think that way now. It's a different mentality, and it's a frustration, but it's the nature of footballers, and we have to. I can't complain about it, because I'm a parent who's created young people, so we have to accept that this is what they're like, and we have to just deal with it.
Cheers, Paul. Been given a couple of questions here, and one of these could probably attack both questions. With there being so many new players, have you got any sort of team bonding events planned for the team since the start of the January transfer window? And also, coming on to the same of that, we're seeing a lot of players come up from Manchester to train and coming up for the club. How do we get them to build a home in Carlisle and make sure that that's their home, and that they're up there to train and gel with those players as well?
I think team bonding's a really interesting thing, because I've been really fortunate that I've been involved in football since 1982, professional football since 82, and do you know the best way to get team bonding is to win games of football. That's really stupid, I know, but that is the best way that you get a good spirit. You know, we had a fantastic spirit last season with what we had, but that was built through having good personalities in the change room, good characters in the change room. We didn't go paintballing, we didn't go go-karting, we didn't go out and get smashed together. We had a good spirit in training, who pushed each other, who encouraged each other, who gave each other a rollicking when they needed it. They put an arm around each other when they needed it, and the staff were part of that. Boardroom in the 1904 room now has created a better environment, so they now spend more time together, whereas before they were eating upstairs in the 74, 75 room, and then they'd all split off and go off. Now they all spend a bit more time together. There's a bit of banter going on, there's a bit of chat going on. They play darts. They've allowed us to put a dartboard in this fantastic boardroom. Thankfully they keep hitting the dartboard at the moment, but that creates a better environment. So that's the first part of it. The next part of it is in terms of the travelling. Football players are different now. They don't move wherever they go. They have a base wherever that base may be, and their partners stay in that base and they travel. It's not like in my day where me and Jackie have been married 34 years and moved 27 times. It's not like that now. They're different. But the big thing that we have done, again, on the back of the new ownership, the houses where the players stay, they've had an unbelievable makeover. And whereas before, I'll be really honest with you, there's not a cat in hell's chance I would have stayed in one of these houses. I would not have let one of my children stay in one of these houses. The players were happy to do it, but the makeover, I'm now taking players in. I took Georgie Kelly in the other day and he's like, wow, this is fantastic, because it's like a hotel room now, and they've made a massive improvement. So that's going to help in terms of getting players here. We're also looking, I'm using the royal we as a football club, we are looking at investing in other properties so that the players have a base to stay. And if they want to come up with a family, like Harry Lewis is looking to buy a place in Carlisle, they've got somewhere which is there for them, that they can come up with the family straight away. So we are trying to do that to make it better. But again, this has only just happened because of the change that's going on at the football club, and it will certainly make it better for attracting players to come up in the future.
I'm going to stay at the back here with one of our young supporters here at the back who's got a question, I believe, to the whole panel.
What is your most embarrassing moment inside football?
I'll go first. It was probably when I was 8, 9 years old. I was on a team and I was not the best. But I played in 100% effort. We were in a real big game for an 8, 9-year-old, huge game, and it was 0-0. And we ended up getting the winning goal, and I was offside. I'll never forget that. Never been offsides again. Never been offsides.
I'll tell you mine. I'm going to stand up to talk you through this one. So, I'm playing for Derby County away at Oldham Athletic, and we've got a free kick about 20 yards out in the second half. So I've placed the ball down. Where's that from? So I've placed the ball down to take the free kick, and as I've stepped back, I heard something snap. And under my shorts I've got a pair of, we used to call them slips, so I've got this slip under my shorts. So I've stepped back to take the free kick. And as I've only took about a 2 or 3 yard strike, so I was going to sort of whip it with a bit of shape over the wall. As I've stepped back, I heard this snap. And I'm there about to take the free kick. And I moved my legs, and my pants, the elastic had snapped on my waist. So my pants are down there. So I'm trying to run, and I couldn't move my legs, so I've had to step back, pull my pants up, and I've literally took the free kick like that. And I had to go off and change the pants, which was quite embarrassing. So that was mine.
At the absolute peak of my Sunday League career, about 18 months ago, I was playing against Jake Simpson, and he skinned me on the halfway line, danced past 12 people and put the ball in bottom corner. So that's been my most embarrassing moment.
I didn't get to play.
I don't know how to follow Paul's pants falling down story. I suppose nearest thing I've got to anything embarrassing. Before I came here, I was at Huddersfield, and I was fortunate enough to be part of the club at that time when it got to the playoff. We got to a playoff final, and on that day, Huddersfield won on penalties, and we've been trying to get promoted with that club for a long time, and at the end, when the final goal went in, I stood up, and there was my wife on one side, and then there was Barry Fry about where that where that lady is there. And when the final goal went in, I turned to Barry Fry and I went and started crying in his arms. And my wife stood next to me going, "Aren't you supposed to be there with me?" So that was that. So every time I see Barry now, and he's still around, and I saw him when we played Peterborough, that brings back that story. So that's my most embarrassing one. Preferring Barry Fry to my wife.
I don't have one. I've never kicked a ball in my life.
Brilliant. We're just
first of all, just reiterate a couple of things and then just one very simple question. First of all, I tried to speak to you, Tom, in the pub in Portsmouth. You were getting absolutely mobbed that day. Everything was fresh and that lot. So, Patty and yourself, welcome to Cumbria. I hope you and the family have the most amazing experience. And thank you very much for choosing Carlisle United. I'm quite sure that a lot of the legacies that come out after you decided Carlisle United. So thanks for having the strength to see that through. On a personal note, just because I think going by memory, it's 2 years next week, where after following Mr. Millen's efforts and Mr. Presley's efforts and Mr. Beach's efforts, on the Monday morning we started getting the social media that Paul Simpson had signed back for our club. It was the best news, honestly, Paul. I went to Orient that Saturday, 1-0 win. Please try to remember as well on the top table the frustrations of some people when things are going against you. It's all about opinions, and 99.9% of them opinions are people like myself who can't do free kick-uppies, and I've won a game on FIFA, so don't worry. The question for you, please. We've been going for 48 years, me and this lad, off same estate, 100 miles round trip to Carlisle. We've been all over this, I think we're about 70 odd games each. So some are a bit different. 2025, can we have a summer pre-season tour to Florida?
I would love to. I would love to, and I will say this, that we have had discussions with Visit Jacksonville, which is basically the sporting tourism for the Jacksonville, Florida area, and we've had very positive discussions with them already. We're in discussions with trying to link sister cities, Jacksonville and Carlisle, and we discussed the topic of the fact that I would love to bring the club over at some point for competitive, and they were very enthusiastic about it. So we're going to circle back. But after that discussion, and they know what we want to do, I think I'm going to try to make it a reality. We're going to try to make it a reality.
hello. There we go. Back on. Back over. What can we go for?
In January, with the recent signings like Armstrong and Lewis, how well have they developed into the club, and what impact do you think they'll make in the future?
What a great question, and well asked. Well, I think they're going to be really good signings for the future of the club. I think Harrison Neal, I think Josh Vella, I think Harry Lewis, Luke Armstrong. I'm really excited to see Georgie Kelly and Luke Armstrong as a strike partnership. I think we've made good signings. I think our recruitment in this window, if I'm honest, is better than our recruitment in the summer window. And there's mitigating circumstances for that. So no, I think they're going to be very good additions. Unfortunately, at the moment, so far, the results haven't reflected the influence that they've had or that they're having. But I really hope that before the end of this season, in fact, if I'm honest, before the end of this weekend, I think I think we'll see a difference, because I think they're good signings, they're good characters, and hopefully these are the start of even more players coming into the club to make us better. Is he what, sorry? No, he's probably, I think, maybe another week and a half away. To be honest with you, he was a player who, the truth of it is, if we didn't sign him in this window, we wouldn't have got him in the summer. If it became a bun fight with everybody else getting involved, we sneaked in and nicked him before it came into a big auction in the summer when he's out of contract. We pushed the button early and got him in. And I have to say, he was really keen to come as well. We talked about him last summer, but he was out of our range. But on this occasion, he jumped at the opportunity. He seems a really good character, good personality, a really intelligent bloke as well. Not like footballers, no. I think he'll be a good signing for us, and hopefully, as I say, we're hoping maybe a week and a half he should be back out there. And again, we're hopeful that JJ has eventually got over this issue, and he's now had a couple of days where he's been able to run without any discomfort, any pain, and we're hoping that he's going to be back soon as well.
Thank you, Paul. Got a couple of questions that have been handed as the evening's gone on. One of them is the summer this year, we've got the fan zone area that's working well for the club. Do we see the club being able to use that with the big screens in the summer, showing the football in down there, the European Championships, and making more use of that since the facility's there? And the other one was mainly for Tom and Patty. At what point you found the club, you'd done all the research, was there a specific moment that you turned around and went, yeah, we want Carlisle United?
I'll take the first part about the big screen. The screen that we've got at the moment is a temporary screen, so we have to hire that in every game. There's a lead time to get these things manufactured, plus you've got to install them, so they need big frames and things like that. So at the moment we're working through a process to buy our own big screen, with the aim that we can get that in time for the summer football, so that with a bit of luck we can make Carlisle United the place to watch the big matches in the summer, which will be absolutely fantastic, and something that will really put us on the map. So that's what's planned.
Yeah, there definitely was an aha moment, and we did the analysis right, and we selected the right club, so that was good. But you never know it until you come over and start meeting with people. Our first time over here was for the Bradford away playoff match. We were kind of kept secret, I guess. I don't know how they do that, but they try to keep it secret, and we did that. And when we came up to Carlisle for the Bradford home match, and we arrived in Carlisle, and we came to the stadium, and that was our first moment at that stadium. And we had heard, hey, you're at Bradford City, this is a beautiful facility, it's a beautiful city, you're going to Carlisle, so, it's more of a village, and it's an older stadium. When we arrived and sat down and spent time with Suzanne, Nigel, Paul, and we toured the facility, I mean, that first moment we were on the property, we couldn't say, you got us, but they had us. I mean, we couldn't say, you got us, we're locked and cocked, we're ready to go. But it was that moment that we just all were like, this is absolutely perfect. This is what we thought. This is the community that we're looking for. This is the place for us. And so we still had 4.5 months, no, 6 months of negotiations, I guess, that were ongoing from there. But the moment we arrived at Brunton Park and met the team and toured the facility, it was all over. It was a done deal.
One more question at the back here. Sorry, there we go.
Hi, it's a question for all the panel. So I've lucky enough to work in a school in Kendal with just over 1,000 kids, and fortunate enough to see some young fans in here tonight. During that time, I've seen no outreach whatsoever from the club in this area of the county. So I'd just like to know, is there a plan going forwards to get that next generation of supporter from this area and to work with local clubs and stakeholders in other parts of Cumbria?
Yeah, good question. Fielding it from a supporters club and the trust point of view, we recognise, and I've said quite a number of times now, we know we haven't done things amazingly in the past. There was a lot of good work that was done, and there was a lot of protecting and building relationships. And I must say, Nigel Clibbins joining the club was instrumental in the trust having better relations with the club. So thank you for that, Nigel. One thing we want to do in the next month, 2 months, 3 months is really build our bridges, build relationships with other fans groups. It's absolutely brilliant to be here tonight and see so many people that are so passionate about the team that we all love. So yes, we are going through the motions, starting the process of looking at what we need to do. So we're compiling a relatively short questionnaire that's going to go out to sort of the other member groups at CUSG and non-members of Kiosk to give us a bit of idea about what you want us to be, how you want us to represent you, what you want us to offer. We've involved the club with that. We chatted yesterday about things that we can look at and projects that we can work on. So yeah, any opportunity that we get to meet new fans and represent people that we currently don't represent, that's what the trust is going to be moving forward.
Yeah, I think how do you answer that question in terms of what's happened before and lack of engagement? I think I've been at the club since June 16, and we've made progress before the guys came in all kinds of areas. But the fact of the matter is, it was always tough, and some things had to give. I think that's the past, and we're trying to look to the future now. So in terms of what we're doing about people in this area, this is the start of it. I mean, I was pestered on email by the gentleman over there saying, what about this area, for a long time, and I said we'd get there in the end. It's taken new owners to get here, but we've started that journey. So yes, it is part of our plan to reach out into the wider parts of the county, especially this particular town, and this is why we're here tonight. Yes, we've got to do more in schools. Yes, we're probably a long way off, but to be frank, we're a long way off in a lot of things, but we're trying to catch up. I've used that phrase, catch up. We've got to do that before we get ahead, but we're trying, and we've now got the ability to do it, so it's very exciting for us. Yeah, we might have not done enough in the past, but we're going to try to do our damn best to do better in the future with the help of these guys. So yeah, you're right, and yeah, we'll fix it.
Just another couple of questions, then we'll start to finish the night off. So, yeah, Howard.
Yeah, just wondering what is going on with Jordan Gibson. Right? He's so frustrating. He's our top goal scorer by about 6 goals. He's on his day. He's the only one that can create anything. Effort. He's in the team. He's out the team. He's cupping his ear to the crowd. It's just really an odd situation.
Nigel, you can answer that.
Try to cut him off by turning the mic.
I hope he doesn't write it down for paper.
Listen, the way that the team has performed this season, we could talk about every single one of them as having frustrations, because we keep losing games, and you know, I speak to Jordan Gibson all the time about my biggest frustration with Jordan Gibson is body language, is how he's perceived by people, because I think he's a really talented footballer, and I've told him that from day one, that I think he's got ability. But ability doesn't get you through alone. You have to actually apply yourself. You've got to work. You've got to be prepared to do both sides of the games. You've got to be able to track back. You've got to be able to make recovery runs. So yeah, there's a frustration with Jordan, and I'm not saying anything there that I've not said to his face. But I do think when a team's losing like we are at the moment, there's a frustration with a lot of the players, unfortunately. And that's all I'm going to say on it.
Paul, is it a lack of leadership on the field? And is that where some of your new signings you're hoping to strengthen that leadership? When the heads go down, does that cause problems?
Yeah, I think one of the big things that I've realised in sort of, if I go back even as far as my time working as assistant at Derby and at Newcastle, there's a real lack of leadership in players nowadays. Now again, I think this comes down to us as coaches. We try to overcoach, so we actually take away their initiative. We actually try to dictate how they play the game, and it was something that I don't overcoach, because I don't see myself as a coach. I see myself as a manager who manages a group of people, and there's a difference in that. And one thing we learned at the FA, or I learned at the FA, was that we tried to give the players scenarios of what could happen, but they had to make the decision of how to affect that scenario. So, for example, if I'm talking about building from the back, so we would say to our players, right, this is our setup. We used to play 4-3-3 with our team. I might be going a little bit technically here, so I apologise, but we would play 4-3-3. And I would say to the players, right, we want to build from our goalkeeper. So if they don't press us and they all drop off, what are you going to do? Well, 2 centre-halves, I'm going to go high on the edge of the 18-yard box. 2 full-backs, you're going to go high on the touchline. That's how we're going to play out from the back. So you play into your centre-backs and then you show up different movements out of that. Okay, what if the press with 1? What if the press with 2? What are you going to do? So we gave them the scenarios and they came up with the answers of what to do. Whereas I think a lot of coaches now, especially young coaches, they, for their own mind, they have to think that, oh well, I've gone through if they press with 1 and this is what I'm going to show them exactly what to do. So we've taken the initiative away from players because of that. So there's that's one side of it, but also there's definitely a lack of leadership from players. Now, you sort of said there, when we go a goal down, heads drop. When we go a goal down or 2 goals down, heads get lifted in the play because they play with freedom. What we've got to try and get is a mentality in them that they're brave enough to do those things from the first whistle. You have to go for it from the first whistle. There's no point waiting till you're 2-0 down, because the truth of it is, at this level, you're not able to come back from that. If you're a Manchester City or a Liverpool or an Arsenal, you can go a goal down and they're 99% sure they're going to recover, they're going to come back, they're going to have a moment in the game where they've got that bit of individual quality that's going to get an equaliser, or go. Man City last night, they go goal down at Brentford. At no point while I was watching that game did I think, they're screwed here, they ain't winning. I'm watching that game thinking, well, they're still going to win 2-1 or whatever it was it 3-2? I can't remember now. But you've got that belief, whereas we haven't got that leadership in our team. But it's more, for me, it's not the leadership side, it's the characters. We haven't got the personalities, and we haven't got the relationships between the players yet, where if I make a mistake, somebody's brave enough to actually dig me out for making that mistake, so then the next time I think, I ain't going to do that again, because I'm not going to get a bollocking off him. So we haven't got that nasty edge to us that we had last season, with people like Morgan Feeney, with Deno, with people like Jamie Devitt. Even if Jamie Devitt wasn't in the 18 with his kit on, you knew that when we came back in that dressing room, we'd be in there with his tracksuit on saying, you didn't do that today, you were out of order. And we've lost that, and that's what we need to try and get back into it. And I think we're now getting personalities in the dressing room who have a voice. We had a review meeting with the players today where we went through the clips that I wanted to show them, and it's the most they've spoke, that they actually came up and, I said to them, look at that setup, what could we have done differently? And they actually came and they brought voices to it, and we've not had that all season. As much as I've challenged and I've asked the open questions for them to give me the answers, they haven't done it. but today was, they came up with the answers. I showed them and they told me what the problems was and where they should have done it differently. And I'm not saying that's going to make it different on Saturday, but hopefully over the long run it will actually make us better. Quite a long-winded answer that, wasn't it? I forgot what the question was. Did I answer it?
Thanks very much, Paul. I'm just here with John Wharton. John's the president of Kendall Town, and John just wanted to say a couple of bits.
Oh, just a short one for me. I know everybody's got a time scale and that, but I'd just like to say thank you all for coming down and using Kendall Town Football Club as your venue for this meeting. I'd like to offer Philip this venue for any further meetings at Carlisle, however big or small one. If this venue suits, then you're more than welcome to use it. Okay, yeah, that's great. I come down with interest because I wanted to listen to what Tom, Paul and the panel had to say this evening, and I think everybody's refreshed by the positivity that's come across and the plans that are in place for Carlisle United. If you're looking for transparency and positivity, and I think Tom has both in abundance, and it's nice to hear. Paul, as ever, tells you as it is, a realist, and I think we've got a good team in front of us to take this club forward. I think it's really encouraging times, and I wish Carlisle United all the best, our Cumbrian neighbours. Yeah, so nice to see you all here. I hope you've all enjoyed it. I certainly have, and good luck to Carlisle United in the future.
We're hitting about 9:10 now, so I think we're going to call it an evening. There is a few people to thank, though. Some of our committee members who are here tonight who've helped. And, you know, without the committee, the supporters club wouldn't be happening. So we've got Steve over the far side. We've got Bob here as well on membership. We've got Chris. We've got Nick somewhere. There we go, Nick, at social media. And a big thank you to somebody who probably gets the most stressful job, and that's dealing with away travel, which I'm sure you've seen over the last few months. We've been able to get some more buses going to away games and stuff, and we are looking at that more. And for the Port Vale game, we did one to up to Port Vale because the lack of trains on the day, and that was supported. It was a little bit last minute, but it was supported really well. So if that's something that you want to start doing more and trying to, you know, we all appreciate how much fuel is, you know, every week. There's a lot of us here who are doing a 90-mile round trip every week to go and watch our club at home, and then look forward sometimes to a great game like Barrow or Morecambe in the past when you've only had to travel 20 miles. So, you know, it just shows the dedication down here. But of course, the panel for coming down tonight, you know, been incredible to see you all, and thank you very much for coming down and seeing us all and seeing this is what the southeast of Cumbria that's going to own the north, and not that dodgy bit in the southwest of Cumbria. So yeah, thanks very much for coming down. Hope to welcome you down again, and thanks very much to everybody for tonight.